The next transaction we will have a look at is when we are receiving money for income. Now on the 10th, we received 3,500 by EFT from a tenant for rent. Now again, we need to identify two items. Our first item is bank because of the word EFT, which stands for electronic fund transfer. This again is an internet payment. The second item will be rent income or rent received, because we are not paying for rent, we are receiving rent from a tenant. Now since this transaction affects our bank, we would have a cash book and we would enter the amount in the bank column. Now let's have a look at how this transaction would look like. Say we have a tenant. This tenant is renting a room in one of our buildings, and since the tenant is renting from the business, the tenant must pay the business. So the tenant does an EFT and pays the business through the internet. Therefore, the business is receiving the money in the form of rental income. So the business had a bank balance of 50,000 Namibian dollars. It received money in the form of rental income with a value of $3,500. Therefore, its new bank balance will be 53,500 Namibian dollars. Also, the total for the business's rental income is 12,000 Namibian dollars. Now it receives a 3,500 Namibian dollars in the form of rental income paid via EFT. The new balance of rental income is 15,500. So now, in the light of this transaction, our bank balance increased because we received money and our rental income increased at the same time. Now our bank is an asset, and since our asset increased, we will enter that on the debit side. And our rent income or rent received is an income, and our income increases on the credit side, so we would enter that on the credit side. Now let's complete this transaction. We have our cash book, but now the other account we need to open will be rent income, not rent paid, because rent paid is an expense. And in our cash book we will be receiving money, so that means we would record it on the debit side, and we would record rent income 3,500 on the debit side in the bank column. And since we are entering the account on the debit side, that means that we receive money, or the business receives money. And then our rent income is an income account, and our income increased, so that we would enter that on the credit side. So we would credit our rent income with 3,500, and the description in the details column will be bank, and that completes our double entry. We have a debit entry of 3,500 for rent income in the cash book, and a credit entry of 3,500 for bank in the rent income account. So to wrap up income and expenses, remember that expenses increase on the debit side and income increase on the credit side. Let's move on to the next transaction.